Well, fellas, I've had this torch sitting for about 3 weeks now, and by this point, whatever was happening to my electrolyte would have already taken place. This video is basically on the topic of foam and HHO torches and electrolyzers, or foam in any industrial process for that matter. And I have been using a Mobile Velocity number 10 oil for a South Bend lathe. This is supposed to be spindle bearing oil, but it's the wrong kind. For some reason they sent me number 10. It's supposed to be number 3. This is actually aviation oil, but it is working out as an amazing foam suppressant. By now, typically my torch would have been, the foam level would have been up to here, and at very high outputs I can't run this thing 100% duty cycle. But with this oil, the thing is running perfect. The foam is no longer an issue, and after years of fooling around with piezoelectric transducers and things like that to mitigate foam, it was just all a total failure. But I have finally apparently solved the problem. I'm running this thing at about 10 amps, it's about 86 degrees, and there's just no real major foam up to be worried about. These bubbles pop just as fast as they're made almost. So I think what has happened personally is that the oil has coated these lines, because sodium hydroxide does react slightly with polyurethane tubing. Pretty sure this is polyurethane, or this is polyethylene tubing, my bad. And now that it's turned yellow, I've noticed the foaming doesn't behave the same way. I think the oil has finally gotten into the exterior chemical structure there and shielded it from any further action of the sodium hydroxide, because, as I've said, this thing would be foaming up so much right now, and it just isn't. So I'm going to conclude that this is, in fact, a viable solution to the problem of anyone who's tried to build a torch and experiences this situation. Another way you can mitigate the situation is to make the surface area of the bubbles bigger. If we were to turn this tank on its side, the surface area we have of bubbles popping changes the residence time and allows that foam to degas, because that's one of the main problems, is the foam doesn't have time to degas. It just piles up higher and higher, and we can only do this diameter at once, so kind of a bad design. But the oil has pretty much saved the day. Very happy with the fact that I can run this thing continually now. I'm only running it at 10 amps at the moment because the tip that I've been messing with can only handle that much, or else the pressure starts building up inside of this thing. And under no circumstances should you pressurize something like this, in my opinion. This thing isn't finished yet, so it's not enclosed. I've got a lot of electronics to add to this yet. So it's a work in progress, but I thought I'd just give you guys an update. I've been on the road, so you ain't gonna be seeing much of me.